Hey everybody, this is Alan from Woodcrest Bonsai, and today I'm going to do a preliminary video on my bald cypress dome. And I call this my dome instead of a grove because I have another smaller grouping of seedlings. So it's the grove and this one is the dome. And the term dome is what they use for bald cypress in nature. Bald cypress grow throughout the southeast, but in Florida there's a habitat called pine flatwoods, and from the northern end of the Everglades all the way through the center of the state up to about Ocala, where it begins to become more hilly, is basically pine flatwoods. Historically, of course, now we have human flatwoods. But anyway, if you go out into the farmland, if you take any highway that traverses the state from, say, like I-4, 192 coming out of Melbourne, Route 60 coming out of Vero Beach, Route 70 coming out of Fort Pierce. Don't know why I can't remember these names. I've lived here 50 years. And you go across the state, you'll come into farmland, pretty much wild land, that's still the pine flatwoods. So the pine flatwoods is, obviously, as the name implies, very flat land. But then there are lower areas where the ground is even lower and wetter and swampier. And that's where you find the cypress domes. And as you're driving, you can see in the distance pine flatwoods, and pine flatwoods are not dense forest by any means. Pine flatwoods are maintained in nature by fire, and the fire can't get to the bald cypress because it's too wet. Most fire, natural fire that occurs in the pine flatwoods is kind of a smoldering, low burning kind of thing. We're not talking about these massive conflagrations, say that 14 times fast, in, places like California where it burns everything to a crisp. So you can see the cypress domes in the distance, and they're very distinct. So in, let's say, a 10 square mile area, there might be 30, 40, 50 cypress domes, all separate from each other, but all pretty much confined to that low-lying area. And they look pretty much just like this. There's the tallest trees in the middle, and then they get lower and lower and lower and lower. So that's why I call this my dome. Now there's some interesting things. One is there's a whole bunch of sun still left in the background, so my video quality still needs, well, maybe I'm just too hard on myself. So we're just going to ignore that. So anyway, so we had, the story of this tree is I took the empty pot, I filled it with soil, I planted hundreds of bald cypress seed, and only about 5 of them germinated. And most of them were right around the edge of the pot. And I decided not to do anything with those. I left them all at the edge of the pot, and then I planted more, and then these are what came up from that other planting. Much less dense. And then I let them grow last year without doing anything at all. No chops, just a little fertilizer and keep them wet. And then about a month ago, I cut everything way back. And I also did some moving of some trees, but only slightly. Almost everything you see here just germinated right where it's at. But when the trees were very, very small seedlings, the squirrels got in here because the squirrels just love to dig. And they created this little hole here that you see. And then they created another hole over here, which is where these little guys are. So I wanted one main tree, but I didn't have any seedling that was big enough. So this is my main tree, but it was in fact way over here at the perimeter. In fact, I just realized that I left the root. There's the root, and it feels like it's still alive. It hasn't sprouted, but So that's the root from this main tree. So the hole was here. So I took this group of seedlings, about like that, there's 5 or 6, dug them up from this part here, because I want my main tree to be a third. This is exactly a 30-inch pot. So I want my main tree to be 10 inches from this side and 20 inches from the other side. I actually like to work on the golden mean, which is 1 to 1.6, which means that it's more like 11 inches and 19 inches. But we won't go into that in this video. So I dug all the little seedlings that were in the spot where the main tree is. I took the main tree from the edge and planted it in that spot, and then I planted the seedlings that came from there into the hole that the squirrels had dug. And interestingly enough, they are the weakest trees. There's no question that root pruning weakened them. So as you can see, if we pan back out, there's a certain irregularity with the size, but these guys here are the runts. They're smaller than anything. And actually, I kind of find that very interesting, that, you know, these guys are taller, and then we have a little, almost a divot. Another interesting thing is that the main tree is perfectly healthy. It's doing well. It's got a nice new leader right here. But it is certainly not the most vigorous, because we have all these guys back here, all these guys back here, all the ones in the back over here, this one here, a couple more over here that are all taller. They have all grown more quickly than the main tree. Of course, once again, it got a root pruning and nothing else did. So the trees that had no root pruning had all the energy in their roots, where it was like, all right, let's go. And then we have another group over here that in Hurricane Milton, they all got pushed, like whoosh. So I don't know if you can see it, but they all got pushed over just on this edge. And of course the winds were coming like that. So I find it very interesting, but I'm so super happy about the way this thing is developing. And this video is kind of a tease, because I'm not really going to do any work on this guy today, right now. I'm going to wait till the morning. Oh no, should I sing again? No, don't sing. Gonna wait until the morning comes. Told you not to sing. But I'm gonna do that, actually. I hope Neil Young is not mad at me. I think that's a Neil Young song. Anyway, then I'm gonna take each individual tree and work it separately. Like this one here has 2 leaders, and I only want 1. This one here has 3, 4, 5 leaders. So I will remove leaders. I will be shortening all the smaller trees. I want the main tree to be the tallest up in here, and everything come down. But I'm just so super happy. It's just, I'm almost ecstatic. It's just like whimsical. I don't know, there's just something about it that I just love. It feels like it ought to be in some kind of Peter Pan or The Never-Ending Story, or I don't know, Winnie the Pooh. Was Winnie the Pooh in the forest somewhere? Maybe I'll get some little figurines. No, do not do that. Anyway, I think I'm done for today. So my plan is to come out tomorrow at the crack of dawn and then work this guy and video it, and then I think I'm going to premiere it, say like 5 o'clock, so that'll give people, if they're interested. And I really truly appreciate the people that are dedicated followers of my program, of my channel. I really truly appreciate it so much. So that's the plan. I'm loving this thing, and this is only a little over a year. Seed planted like in January of just last year, and already it's just making me so happy. And that's truly the essence for me, is if your bonsai makes you happy, then that's really all that counts. And if it makes you happy too, Then they have this little thing called a thumbs up that you can press if you're interested in watching me do the work. Tomorrow I've got to commit. I'm going to commit to premiering it at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, Eastern Standard Time in America. And that's about it. I don't know. Whew. Honestly, I've been a little sick. That's why I haven't been doing any videos. I've been actually quite ill. So this is one of the first where I'm feeling up to it. So I'm feeling a little bit giddy too. It's like, I'm back, I'm back. So thank you so much for watching. And if you're interested, I'll see you at the premiere, 5 o'clock tomorrow, the 2nd of April, Eastern Standard Time.